I never thought that I would be saying this out loud, but Kenpachi Zaraki's Bankai is the cutest one that I've ever seen. That's right, my friends, in this week's chapter of Bleach, not only do we get an epic action scene, a battle between Kenpachi Zaraki and Gerard Valkyrie the Miracle, but we also get a massive reveal about Kenpachi's Bankai. If you have not read this week's chapter of Bleach, I would highly recommend you go check it out right now, because I'm going to talk about all of the good stuff. So let's just go ahead and get the elephant out of the room. In this week's chapter, at the very end, after Kenpachi has been repeatedly beaten by Gerard Valkyrie, we get the sudden return of Yahchiru. Yes, Yahchiru, the lieutenant of Kenpachi Zaraki, and it looks like she's about to unlock his hidden powers, the powers known as Bankai. And you know what? That power might actually be her herself. She might be the living spirit of Kenpachi Zanpakuto, and has been there the entire time. It's heavily implied at the very end of this chapter that she is directly connected to his Zanpakuto and might be the actual spirit. There are plenty of clues throughout the entire series to this. The fact that she's constantly with him, the fact that she was found for the very first time when Kenpachi actually gained his sword for the very first time, not to mention when she uses her Shikai abilities, she actually doesn't have a command when she releases them. You remember Bony and Lumpy, right? Those abilities might also be tied to Kenpachi Zaraki. All I know is, at the end of this week's chapter of Bleach, I nearly had a tear come out of my eye for how amazing this scene was. This is something that I've been waiting to see for so long. The relationship between Yahchiru and Kenpachi is so strange. They're two characters who honestly seem like they would never mix together perfectly, with Kenpachi being an utter killing machine and Yahchiru just being one of the most adorable, happy-go-lucky characters that you've ever seen. And yet, they still manage to work together. And like I said, there's still plenty of clues. The fact that she's always been able to sort of resist his immense power. The fact that she can basically put up with Kenpachi. What I think is most interesting, however, is if she actually is the Bankai, how exactly did all of this go down? Because typically in the series, there are a couple of methods in order to achieve the Bankai, the super ability of the Shinigami, and usually you have to confront your Zanpakuto spirit and basically beat them into submission, basically be the boss. But what would happen if a Zanpakuto spirit and their owner were immediately compatible and were friends? Does this mean he just instantly unlocks his Bankai ability? If that's actually what's going to go down, that's pretty freaking awesome. And what type of abilities is his Bankai going to have? Is it simply going to be Yahchiru healing him, which appears to be the case at the very end of the chapter? Will he actually have access to Bony and Lumpy and using those two giant monsters in battle? Are they literally going to combine their powers into one, very similar to Coyote Stark and Lilynet from the Arrancar arc? That's actually the vibe that I'm getting from this. They actually remind me very much of that duo. All I know is, the ending of this week's chapter is going to get a lot of people talking, and they're going to get very excited for the next week's chapter, which frankly, I already cannot wait for. The rest of the chapter is basically just a lot of kick-ass action of Kenpachi constantly just running towards Gerard Valkyrie, getting knocked down, and completely getting back up. Throughout the course of the chapter, you also have Toshiro Hitsugaya, who's teaming up with Byakuya Kuchiki. They're trying to come up with this plan where apparently he's just going to completely free Gerard all the way down to the bone, and that's when Byakuya is going to come in with Senbon Sakura and just completely slice and dice him. However, Kenpachi is not going to allow this to happen. Every single time Toshiro jumps into the battle, he ends up getting his ass knocked down. Kenpachi is going to be the one who's going to finish off this match, and you can tell that he's really giving it his all. In fact, while I was reading the chapter, I was thinking, why doesn't he just remove his eye patch? Very next page, the eye patch is gone, Kenpachi is giving it everything, and it looks like he's going to be defeated when suddenly the adorable Yahchiru finally shows up at the end to save the day. So what's the rundown on this week's chapter of Bleach? So damned exciting. What an amazing revelation, too. This is something that a lot of folks have wanted to learn for a long time, learning a little bit more about Yahchiru, how Kenpachi is actually going to activate his Bankai for the very first time, and I might be jumping the gun a little bit here, and I'm definitely a little biased when it comes to Kenpachi, but throughout this entire final arc, Kenpachi, to me, has been one of the most entertaining things about it. Not only has he had some amazing battles, but he's activated his Shikai for the very first time, we got this revelation about Yahchiru, and frankly, the dude's just fun to read. And he found his perfect match in Gerard Valkyrie this week. These are two characters who are a match made in heaven, or at least according to Toshiro Hitsugaya, a match made in hell. Even with all the cool action this week and all the great panels, especially I love that one where Kenpachi jumps right up into Gerard Valkyrie's face, which gives you the title card of the chapter. Everybody's going to be talking about Yahchiru. She's definitely going to be the biggest thing about this week's chapter. The theories are going to be running wild. If she really is the Zanpakuto spirit, if she somehow has the ability to unlock Kenpachi's secret abilities, which allow him to use Bankai, there is so much speculation from just those two final pages of this week's chapter, and I think that makes it a really good read. That combined with a small amount of humor in this week's chapter from Toshiro Hitsugaya and all of the kick-ass action from Kenpachi definitely make this an incredibly exciting chapter of Bleach, which I absolutely love. My favorite duo is coming back to the forefront, and I cannot wait to see them in action in next week's chapter. So I loved this week's chapter of Bleach. I thought it was fantastic. I thought all of the artwork was really good, the writing was sharp, and it had a great cliffhanger ending. So I'm going to give this week's chapter of Bleach, that's right my friends, a 5 out of 5. Check it out, Bleach fans. You might see something you like. But I want to hear from you guys, because this week's chapter of Bleach was freaking huge. What did you think about the return of Yahchiru? How exactly is she tied to the power of Kenpachi's Bankai? Is she going to activate it? Is she actually the Bankai itself? What do you want to see in the next chapter of Bleach? How do you want Yahchiru to be involved? And what do you want to see from the final arc of the Bleach manga series? Please tell me in the comment section below. You guys are freaking awesome! Thank you for watching this review. I really appreciate it. Make sure to share it with all of your buddies, and if you guys would like to, please subscribe to the channel. That way you can see all of our latest anime and manga reviews as they're released, as well as all the brand new reviews coming out for the spring anime season. That's right, it's getting ready to kick off. A few shows that I'm guaranteed to be looking at is the brand new season of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, the next part of Ushio and Tora. I'm also going to be looking at this brand new show, which is called My Hero Academia. It's a really popular manga series which is getting spun off into an anime version. I'm also going to be reluctantly looking at the next season of Sailor Moon. That's right. I reviewed the entire first season, and damned if I don't, damned if I do, I really want to see the next season. I'm really intrigued to see what they're going to do with it. So I'm definitely going to check that show out. There's a few other ones that are going to be coming out, and I would love to hear your suggestions of what anime series you guys want me to cover and look at. There are so many possibilities. There's even a brand new Gundam Unicorn anime series, which is basically just a redone version of the OVA that they're just chopping up and turning into an anime version. So it's mostly the same with some new footage, but I might check that one out too. There's lots of possibilities for this season and even more going into the summer. So like I said, make sure to tell me all of that stuff in the description box below. Thank you guys again for watching, and as always, stay dandy, baby.